Tonko.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the November 28th, 2017 meeting of the Pequannock Township Council. Ms. Marsh?
In accordance with the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was included in the annual meeting notice, which was filed in the office of the Township Clerk, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, published as a legal notice in the Suburban Trends newspaper, and distributed to all persons requesting notice in accordance with Township policy.
I'd like to ask you to please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a prayer and a moment of thanks for individuals serving our nation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most gracious Providence, we ask that you bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding so that every deliberation will result in actions which will promote the common good and general welfare for all the people of Pequannock Township. Amen.
Amen. Okay, if the clerk can please do roll call.
Mr. Hurd is absent. Mr. Cole?
Here.
Mr. Phelan?
Here.
Ms. Winterfield?
Here.
Mayor Florence Lynch?
Here. All right. First on our agenda tonight, we have some presentations. So I'm going to ask all the council to come down with me for the presentations. And I'm first going to look for Anthony Finnan. And I'm going to ask Anthony Finnan to come up. For those of you who do not know, Anthony Finnan is our latest Eagle Scout. And a few of us, a couple weeks ago, I guess it was back on October 22nd, we went and celebrated Anthony's accomplishment at his Court of Honor. And Anthony's project was beautifying and putting in a garden at the senior house. And we all know the senior house is like a community center. It's a very busy place for a lot of activities, so it's a perfect project for an Eagle Scout because everyone in town gets to enjoy it. So we have a proclamation that we're going to present to Anthony, but before we do that, I'm going to put him on the spot a little bit, and I'm going to ask you to talk a little bit about your project, just a little bit of the work involved and hours put in and who helped to get there.
Well, thank you very much. Again, for my Eagle project, I wanted to re-landscape the entire front of the Pequannock Senior House. And in order to complete this project, it required a lot more work, especially than what I was expecting going in. But I got a lot of great help and lots of donations and lots of generosity from really everyone in the community. And I'm really happy to have completed this project. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. And all the citizens, we are always so excited when we see a new Eagle Scout accomplishment. So with that, I'd like to read this into the record. Whereas for more than 100 years, the Boy Scouts of America has helped mold the future leaders of this country by combining educational activities and lifelong values with fun. And whereas the involvement of young men in the Boy Scouts of America is of great importance to our community and our country. And whereas the rank of Eagle Scout is the highest honor a Scout can attain in the Boy Scouts of America. And whereas Pequannock Township resident Anthony James Finnan has earned the required 21 merit badges and completed a service project for the benefit of the community, designing and implementing landscaping at Senior House. And whereas Anthony was presented with the Eagle Scout Award at a Court of Honor on the 22nd day of October 2017. And whereas Anthony's scouting achievements, activities and achievements have brought honor to himself, his family, and his community. So now therefore, on behalf of the Township of Pequannock and its residents, Mayor Melissa Florence Lynch and members of the Township Council hereby recognize the achievement of Anthony James Finnan in attaining the rank of Eagle Scout. So, congratulations.
How'd you get all these people here?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have another proclamation to present tonight, and I am so happy to see the high school, Pequannock Township High School marching band here. And
Why don't you guys move in if you want?
yeah, come on in. Because what I'm going to
There's room over here. There's some seats back there.
I am going to ask Anthony Straker. Where's Anthony? Here he is. All members of the high school marching band and color guard, all those award recipients, to come on up and join Anthony. Sure, come this way. I didn't want to make everybody sit down. I want everybody We have video. This way you guys are all on video, so everyone in the
Melissa?
Hey, if anybody wants to go up on the dais, you should go back up there.
How about the roll guys up here? So we should sit in your chairs.
Tell Steve to move down.
They're already taking pictures of that.
Be careful.
the marching bands. On Saturday, November 4th, the marching band and color guard competed in the Group 3A state championships at Middletown High School. There were 15 bands competing, and Pequannock won first place and captions for Best Music and Best Visual. And to top it off, the next day, on Sunday, November 5th, Pequannock Township Marching Band and Color Guard competed in the Group 3A Nationals in Allentown, Pennsylvania, where they won the national title and caption for Best Visual. 21 bands from 8 different states competed. Do I have that right? The band and the color guard were supported by the town with an amazing escort home from the Pequannock Police and Fire Department. We couldn't be more proud. We wanted to present you all with a proclamation, so I'm going to read this into the record. And I don't know if there's a few words you want to say about this. You've done a tremendous job with this group of students. Whereas the Pequannock Township Council is proud to honor and recognize the Pequannock Township High School Golden Panther Marching Band for their recent win at the U.S. Band's National Champions. And whereas the marching band competing against 21 bands from 8 different states was awarded first place overall and received the caption for Best Visual. And whereas preceding the national championships, the marching band competed against 15 bands, won the New Jersey State Championship and received the captions for Best Music and Best Visual. And whereas their individual talents and outstanding efforts under the leadership of band director Anthony Streifer have earned the Pequannock Township High School Golden Panther Marching Band the admiration of their school and community. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Pequannock in the County of Morris, State of New Jersey, that the Township Council on behalf of the entire community hereby recognizes the members of the Pequannock Township High School Golden Panthers Marching Band for their exceptional efforts and proclaims November 28, 2017 as Pequannock Township High School Golden Panther Marching Band Day in Pequannock Township.
Yeah, today's 20.
Literally everyone is or like they can't.
Are we smiling yet?
Yeah.
Look at which part of the transit
I'm smiling.
Yeah, let me just say it. Hold on. Guys, congratulations.
I'm sure she's got one. Not now, but...
Hey, Carol. I just took this back to the
Thank you, John.
Really means a lot to them.
Okay. Yes. Congratulations.
Well, you did a good job. It's been bad. And hostility. There's a way of doing it. You gain control, but you do have it. Yes. And it's always knowing where. Yep. No. How to deal with it. This is a little more formal. Yes. You do. And sometimes it's hard.
guys. Thank
Carol has your proclamation. I'll bring it over to the high school tomorrow. Is that okay? Is that all right? And then that's fine, it'll be in a frame.
But it's nice because
Yes, well,
I told them I was can't. Oh, yeah.
now you want this
They did it. So we really didn't take it back. Thank you, Mayor. Nice to meet you. Yeah, go see my arms.
oh,
No, we lost everything.
I don't know, not quite so clear.
I had to think about which proclamation to do first. Didn't want to insult the kid.
All right, that wasn't right? Okay. Moving on. That was like the most excitement we've had in a while.
That was the biggest crowd.
Pretty good. All right. Tell me when we're ready.
We're on already.
We're on already? All right, next on the, yes. I'm going to. All right, so I'll see you.
That was my iPad, not my...
Okay, all. Next item on the agenda is comments. This would be reports or comments from any of our volunteers serving our community. Do we have any volunteers? Come on up, Joe. Just state your name.
Joe Wells, 5 Washington Street, Chairman of the Open Space Committee. And I just wanted to give you an update on some of the events that have taken place with the committee. As you know, we're working on the Riverwalk, and we've completed a lot of the sections on that, and shortly we'll have a map indicating where people can, on these kiosks that we put up, where they can walk along the trail and so forth. Another interesting development, there's a large tract of property on the south end of town called the Pequannock Tract. I've been speaking to the owner of the property over the years, and his intention was, after he's finished with the use of it, it's approximately 50 some odd acres, that he would donate it to the Audubon Society. So recently I had a conversation with him, and in that conversation, he indicated to me that he had completed the Lincoln Park section of the tract and had actually donated it to the town of Lincoln Park. So in discussing further with him, he indicated that he would be open to donating those 50 acres to the town once all a DEC and EPA remediation had been completed. In other words, that the property would be clean and free of any hazardous waste or other problems. And I just feel that it would be a great opportunity for the town, and I'd like the council to take up whether they would want to proceed that way. I did bring it up in the Open Space Committee, and they were all quite excited and were very interested in acquiring the land.
Where's the access to that?
There was a park that I had originally put in at, it's called Panther Park.
Yeah, Pocket Park.
Little Pocket Park, and I had envisioned that as one of the entrances to the park. The property also borders Hidden Cove, which is another small parkland that we have. And depending on other things, the rail trail also intersects the property at both a part very close to Pequannock, to the Turnpike, and another section at the end of Riverside Drive. So there's multiple potential access points to the property.
I know we had a brief discussion about it, and you said open space was for it, and I can't imagine why we won. I mean, it would be a...
If we got it for free? Yeah.
Exactly, donated to the town.
Contamination.
As long as there's not, like you said, it would be totally clean, and by the time we took it.
There's a time frame here too. It's about, before all the remediation is completed, we're probably talking about a year plus before it would be ready for that. And we'd have to do our due diligence. You know, take it on a phase 1 on that size property is pretty big proposition. And those are things we'd have to work out in the future. But I feel that with Aquatic Park in the north, Mountainside Park on our western boundary, and acquiring 50 acres that borders the river and other parkland that we have, and the rail trail, it would add to the recreation capabilities of the town phenomenally. It's a beautiful area with a lot of bird life. In fact, I've reached out to Tony. He's in Florida now, but I'd like to take the council for whoever on the council would want to, for a walking tour to get an idea of what the property's like.
Yeah, I've actually
I would like to go on that too. I've never been back there.
I've never been there either.
I've been to one of the properties close to it.
Yeah.
I won't mention which one,
But that might be nice to kind of schedule a time where we can go.
He's in Florida right now, but I talked to his secretary today, and we'll try and arrange something, before. He will be back for about a month, but somewhere in between. It's actually a great place in the wintertime. A lot of bird life still there before they leave for the south, and some nesting birds stay there all year long. Any other questions on that situation?
Any question now? Sounds great.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'm going to switch hats. I'm also a member of the Morris County Board of Transportation, and I know from some of the members I do get queried about the bike trail every once in a while. And so I just wanted to give you an update on that. A lot of questions about where we're going to start construction. And one of the things that people would like, obviously, to have it start on the north end, where we are. But we have a contractual agreement with the DOT about crossing active rail at the southern end of the trail, and that has an expiration point. So we're going to have to actually start there to complete that. We also have the biggest environmental issues at that area. We'll have to do some board walking and some other things. So we're actually going to start, I know you were not happy about that, but we're going to start at the south end, and we're still projected in the spring of 18 to actually start the construction there.
When you say boardwalk, what does that mean?
Well, what happens is we have to go off the rail at a certain point because of problems we had. We have to buy fill credits and other things to care. We're going through what was wetlands, and so we're going to have to boardwalk that area. In other words, to build an area that's above the ground level. Not uncommon in trails and so forth, in building something like that. Any other questions on the rail trail?
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's it.
Be nice. We're waiting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the update. Anyone else? Yes, Ken.
Quickly here on behalf of the Flood Advisory Committee, we are sending a letter to the town council. The committee just wanted the council to know that they do object to the location of the skate park on the property by Jefferson. We're not rendering an opinion on the project itself, just the location. And we wanted to make sure the council was clear that the committee is unanimous. We do not believe it should be located there.
Does anybody have questions for Ken on that? No? Okay. Anyone else? No one else? Okay. All right, moving on. The next item on the agenda is public comment. This public comment period will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. An additional period for public comment is reserved for later in the meeting. Individuals are requested to limit their questions and comments to 3 minutes. If anyone wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized and then come to the microphone and give your name and address for the record. Yes, Louise.
Louise Marchese of 16 Roland Road. I don't fully understand what the plan is for Piacosta's property. I know that 32 years that I'm here, that area was called the Sand Pit. So I'm not exactly understanding what is going to become of that property. But from what I know, living in that area, to enter that area, that land is Schaefer's. I don't think you could even get in from Riverside. So that would have to be looked into. Also, I would think things are up in the air right now as far as what's going to happen to Schaefer's property. So I'm just saying, all this should be taken into consideration. Thank you.
That's why I asked where the access points were, Louise.
I don't know if anybody had any comments on that.
Joe, does the Boys and Girls Club property also border that?
Yes, that's correct.
It does.
Yeah, there, again, the rail trail, that 100-foot right-of-way just goes right through Schaefer's land on both sides, crosses that right at the bridge. So you have the NYS&W trail property, the Boys and Girls Club, Hidden Cove, Panther Park, and potentially industrial road here. So there's a lot of areas.
I guess before we make any decisions, we'll have to take a walking tour and
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the walking.
and see,
As long as it's
what
not
the
snowing
benefits,
that day, Joe.
and seeing what the benefits are and whatnot. So thank you for bringing that up, Louise. Anyone else for public comment? Anyone? No? Okay. Oh, yes. Steve.
Good evening, everyone. Steve Mangieri, 17 Foothills Drive. Has the council been provided the geotech reports with the soil samples?
Just today.
I just got the report today.
Just today, 4:15.
As of this afternoon, we were told by the township engineer that he has not been provided a copy of the report when we spoke to him this afternoon. Again, delays on this report and the information being out there being able to be looked at by the engineer and the people. I kind of go back to the transparency issues that I question later. The $450,000 price tag that has been put on this park, and now with that soil report saying the soil engineering that's going to happen with the 600 plus cubic yards of fill to be removed and be replaced with compactable materials. Again, things that we had brought up in the past about fighting the feet of flood maps and other capital improvements that go on in this town. And now with the Pequannock Township Flood Advisory Committee saying that they're proposing a letter to this council saying that the Pequannock Township Flood Advisory Committee does not approve the location of this park being in that floodplain. And with all of these things into consideration, if the vote were tonight on the budget to approve this park, would you approve the vote and say yes for the park?
Well, I think up until this point, we are still waiting the number. We did hear the $450,000 number that was floating around, but I don't think that was the final number, right? We're still waiting for a final. So I don't think you're going to be able to get any vote until you get a final.
Okay, does the fact that the Pequannock Township Flood Advisory Committee is saying you shouldn't put this park here, any consideration on this council with the location of this park?
I think we should definitely look at what the input is from everyone, and if they're, I don't know how the rest of the council feels, but we'll, definitely wait for that letter.
Phelan, may I ask your opinion on this?
Sure. I'm a little concerned on the price tag of this. I haven't seen the final numbers yet. I know that we budgeted $250,000 in our budget last year. If we're going to have to budget even more money, I think we, as a council, have to carefully look at everything and make sure that we make the right decision. We're talking a large amount of money here. I want to do what's right for the residents of the town. I want to do what's right for the kids of our town. It's a tough decision, but I think we need all the information first, but as the price tag keeps increasing, it just gets to be a little bit more concerning as far as I'm looking at it. Again, I always try to keep an open mind. I think over the years, we've done a good job at making the right decisions for everybody involved, and that's why we're still sitting up here.
Ms. Winterfield, if I could ask you your opinions?
Which question do you want me to answer?
Well, with the location of the park and the information that's out there.
The Flood
and
Advisory.
The Flood Advisory Council saying they're...
Well, the Flood Advisory had 2+ years to chime in. And for them to come up at this point and say that is a little disturbing to me, that they come up at this point, because they are fully aware of the situation. I mean, the liaison to them is the mayor, and the mayor had a direct line to them.
It's actually not their first time that they came forward with that.
In the original planning...
Well, you asked me my opinion, let me finish.
Oh, okay, I'm just trying to bring you a fact to clarify, to make sure that you have all the information, that's all.
I think it's very disturbing that they come up at this point. This was, they're not engineers. They're not experts at this. They're concerned citizens, and they should be the coming forward and saying what is the pulse of the community, and I hear them loud and clear. I have to say the location was not my first choice either. but after talking to experts about what can be done about the flood mitigation and keeping the water on site and all the other improvements at Washington Park, I feel comfortable with the experts, what they've told me. So to answer on that, I'm comfortable with that.
Okay. Because in the original design presentation, it was presented to the skate park committee and the people there that 12 inches of soil would be removed in order to do the park. And now that the geotech report is back, there's much, much more soil than that has to be removed. And I think that that's an important thing to address.
As Councilman Phelan said, I think we have to wait till everything comes in and take a look at it, and then we have to really all talk about it as a body.
Okay. Mr. Cole, may I ask your opinion?
I'm in the same agreement as Councilman Phelan. I mean, I'm a little concerned about the amount of soil that needs to be taken out, but I am not an expert in that area. I would like to hear what our town engineer, Joe Golden, has to say about what the benefits and not benefits of, removing that amount of soil. It also isn't too far from where we did have contaminated soil for the utility field that is being replaced or being put in pretty much now. So, has that soil been checked for contamination?
Yes.
I would want to make sure that definitely is clean soil before we start removing it and find out that there's going to be additional charges because it is contaminated. But until we get the final report and the final figures, I really can't say yes or no. So,
do we have any idea on when a report from the township engineer might be available?
Well, the township engineer is not going to make a report on the report from the geotech engineer. Township engineer is a civil engineer and not a geotech expert. In speaking with him, he would prefer not to. It's not his area of expertise.
So whose area of expertise in the township of Pequannock is it to take a look at this thing and say, you know what, with this amount of soil having to be removed and replaced, this may just not be the best idea for us?
Well, the point of the geotech report was to provide the information needed by the design engineer to design it correctly.
I understand that.
That's going to have a cost implication.
I understand that.
Until the design engineer finishes with his work, council doesn't know what that cost implication is.
I understand the prospect of it, and I thank you for that. My question is, with the amount of soil that has to be removed and replaced in the floodplain, is there anybody in Pequannock Township who's going to take a look at this and say, this may not be the best idea to do in this location? Is it just the council going to say, hey, I think this is a great idea, or yes, I think this is a bad idea? No.
Is there another check and balance?
Right.
You're going to be given the information as to what the costs involved are.
I think the issue is the cost that's involved in this. Whether replacing or taking out and replacing it with a different soil is not that critical, in my opinion. It's going to be what is the cost to do that. In that. If the cost to do that is $150,000, first I'll fall off my chair, and then I'll get up and make a comment about it. I mean, that's the point behind this whole thing. It's all about what is it actually going to cost? Originally, we talked about this, the council talked about this, and we were talking about $250,000, and we're going to put money aside for $250,000, and the skate park committee was going to help raise some money, not a lot, but some money for this. Now, the cost of this could escalate to God knows what at this point. So until we have a real good idea of what the heck is going on here, it is very hard to make a decision. And like I said to you, the decision that we make will be to the benefit of the residents of the town as well as the children of our town. We have done pretty good so far making the correct decisions. Trust me, we will make the correct decision on this.
Stephen, that's why we're taking our time with this and looking for all the information. There are a couple of things that I would just like to state that the flood committee has come in front of this council before and verbalized that they did not approve of the location. I was the only council member that voted against the location, by the way. However, that's the location that was picked and it was voted on, and now we're moving forward. And one of the reasons why I voted against it is I felt that the price would escalate because of where it is. I was convinced that it was going to cost more money going there, and maybe it wasn't the best location, but that's where it is, and now we're waiting for the information. So I just wanted you to be aware of that, so it was not the first time that they voiced their opinion. And, we're all, a little bit concerned about the timing and the cost, so that's what we're waiting for. And when I say timing, now with the FEMA maps and...
Sure, absolutely.
We have some other issues that we have.
So we will take a hard look at it, and that's why we keep asking for public input from both sides. Thank you. And we did get the GEO report finally today after asking for it.
At 4:15.
So, yes, come on up.
Hello. Thank you. Hi, my name is Janice Galliano, Peck Avenue. I just have questions. I don't have any comments. I know that we have a very large parking area behind the ball fields in Washington Park. I went by, I think there's about 70 or 71 spots. I'm just wondering the square footage of those spots, how much pavement was, how many square feet the pavement
So you're talking
area
about parking
is
spots.
of the parking area back there, how much it cost, and how much is the cost of the all-purpose field? And if there were oppositions to all these. So that's it.
All right,
Those are my questions. Thanks.
Do you want the answers?
I was going to say, I don't have the answers. Does anyone?
Either, so
I mean, making any comments, I just wanted, to pose these questions.
I mean, we can, get those answers for you if you're interested, or whether you were just making a point.
No, I would like to know. Because I think it's important, because there seems to be opposition to the park, and I would just like to know, because it is a very big parking area back there.
Right, so you just...
And that is in a floodplain, I'm assuming, and if any of the people concerned with the floodplain opposed the parking spots back there when they were being put in. So.
I'm sure they did.
I'm sure
they did too, but I'm just wondering, because I wasn't...
I'm sure...
Did the flood committee weigh in on that? I don't know.
On what?
On the parking lot.
I don't know if the flood committee was involved in the parking lot.
So I was just curious about the cost and things that I questioned, so. Okay.
Dave will get it for you.
Okay, thank you.
You got those questions? Good.
There was some.
All right, yes,
but it
Kyle.
definitely got bigger. There was some parking back there, but definitely got bigger.
Hello, Kyle Russell, 6 Walnut Ave, Pompton Plains. Quick question, why did it take a month for the council to get the geotech survey? I've had it since October 27th.
Email's slow in town.
I don't know. I know that someone on the council, actually, Councilman Cole, tried to forward it to me, but it kept saying my mailbox was full or something. But today, when I asked for it, I got it. So
And to be honest with you, I mean, I hope you all understand it, because I've looked at it.
Yeah, I
It's
don't.
not easy to understand, so.
It's above our pay grade.
It's not designed for, understanding of lay people. The purpose of the report was to provide the information to the design engineer so he could design it correctly. We don't pass every single piece of information that we receive to all the council people. They'd be bogged down in paperwork constantly.
I understand that.
So once they decide on a project going forward, internally, we do what we need to do to move that project forward. And at policy or decision points, council's brought in the loop and asked to make a decision. There was no decision to be made over this report. Once they decided to authorize it, that information needed to go to the design engineer. That's what was done.
I asked for my report today. I was just curious because I wanted to read
Right,
it. So
yeah, I have a friend
haven't
who's a
even read it yet.
geotech engineer for PSE&G, so he actually sat down with me and we went page by page.
Yeah, truthfully,
and it is,
Kyle.
It is interesting if you really read it.
Like, we might not get any more information, like the town manager said, reading it might not even help us make a decision.
What will make the decision is how much is it going to cost.
Right, but it's really what we're waiting for is the final cost, what's involved, and then, of course, there would have to be a lot more input into that about enforcement and rules and how you're going to, that type of thing. So we're just waiting for all of it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? All right. At this time, we've reached 30 minutes of public comment.
We did?
Well, it wasn't really 30 minutes, but since there's no additional public comment, we'll continue on with the agenda. Next on the agenda is public hearing on ordinance number 2017-17. Ms. Marsh.
Ordinance number 2017-17 is an ordinance amending Chapter 129 of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Pequannock entitled Parks and Rec. It's regarding field use, scheduling, and fees.
Okay, are there any comments from the council on this ordinance?
No, we talked about this already several times.
We talked about it. All right, can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing 2017-17.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, if anyone in the audience has any questions or comments on this ordinance, please come to the microphone and identify yourself for the record. Anyone? All right, is there a motion to close the public hearing, please?
I'll make a motion to close public hearing 2017-17.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. All right, is there a motion to adopt this ordinance?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2017-17.
I'll second it.
All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Ms. Winterfield?
Yes.
Mayor Florence Lynch?
Yes. Okay, next on the agenda, we have a public hearing on ordinance number 2017-18. Ms. Marsh, can I ask you to read that?
Ordinance number 2017-18 is an ordinance repealing Chapter 173 of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Pequannock entitled Sale of Tobacco.
All right, are there any comments on this ordinance from any council members? Can I have a motion to open the public hearing on this?
I'll make a motion to open public hearing on 2017-18.
And I'll second it.
Okay, you got that, Carol? I don't know who seconded it, but, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, if anyone in the audience would like to address the council, ask questions or comments on this ordinance, please come to the microphone. Anyone? All right, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing 2017-19.
And guess what? I'll second it.
18, I'm sorry.
Okay. And Rich seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm going to ask for a motion to adopt this ordinance, please.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2017-18.
I'll second it.
All right, and we'll do a roll call.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Ms. Winterfield?
Yes.
Mayor Florence Lynch?
Yes. All right, that's it on the public hearings. Moving to ordinances for introduction, and we have one. So, Ms. Marsh, if I can ask you to read that ordinance.
This is ordinance number 2017-19, amending Chapter 83 of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Pequannock entitled Fire Protection.
Okay, and since we're just introducing this, I'm going to ask Mr. Holberg to highlight this
Sure, this is done
ordinance.
at the request of our fire official, Bob Westlake. The couple fees that are changing are being changed to coordinate and line up with the state, who also changed its fees. We're also eliminating some duplicate language and modifying the way two sections kind of overlapped previously.
Yeah, so from reading this, it looked like mostly it was fees, just to be more in line.
Well, for some of those fees, the state actually directs what those fees are to be, so we're changing our ordinance to be consistent.
With the state.
Correct.
Okay.
So I wasn't here at the last meeting because I had a 3-year-old ring ding that my wife should have thrown away. But anyway, did we discuss this at the last meeting?
No, this
is being introduced.
No.
Okay, so this has to do with if I sell my house, I have to get it inspected for fire, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And those fees for those inspections are in the New Jersey Administrative Code, and they haven't updated them in years. They finally did, and now we're in compliance with that.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out what the cost is going to be.
Normally, for sell your home, it used to be $35.
It's $45 now.
For a smoke, carbon, fire inspection. So that is going up by $10, which is reasonable.
There's an upcharge if you don't give them enough time.
And there always was, an upcharge.
So, David, is the number in line with the state then?
They're exactly
the same. Okay.
Some towns even
And the same
have it higher
break
than
points
state.
with the square footage is the same break points?
They are actually, square footage is not required by state. That's something that we have locally. And we kept, let's see, we eliminated the smallest one, and so that now the lowest fee is the $60.
50.
Well, it's changed it from, it says.
Right, 30 to 50.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem like, there's like $10 change between there, but then there's the jump between the others. I was just
Because you
wondering.
got a smaller square footage, right?
Yeah, the thought of the, Bob, and I agree, is that, there is no inspection we go out on where it's costing us less than
Right, just to get there.
$50.
Just to
Yeah,
go.
just the amount of time to do the inspection, write the report, you've consumed more than $30. This is supposed to be a self-supporting operation overall.
Okay.
And this particular ordinance is only addressing the fire inspection portion. It has nothing to do with the other inspection.
As long as it lines up with the state.
But if it lines up with the state, it seems reasonable. I know from doing real estate in other towns, they're even higher.
It's very reasonable.
Ours is low, yes.
Ours is low. So I don't know if any council members have any other comments or questions
I'm good.
regarding this, or whether you're okay with that?
I'm fine.
All right, if there's no further input, is there a motion to introduce this
I'll make that
ordinance on the
motion.
first reading? Okay.
I'll second it.
All right, and a roll
Thank you,
call,
Dave.
please. Sorry. Yeah, we're ready for roll call.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yep.
Ms. Winterfield?
Yes.
Mayor Florence Lynch?
Yes. Okay. Moving right along, next is resolutions for approval, and we have quite a few this evening. So, Ms. Marsh, if I can ask you to read through resolutions by title?
Beginning with Resolution 2017-201, authorizing tax office refunds, overpayments, or cancellations. 2017-202, authorizing release of designated escrow deposits. 2017-203, confirming the designated membership in the Pequannock Township Fire Department. That's for junior firefighter Devin Catarant.
Okay, we got it.
Yeah, right. All right. I thought I read that out loud before, but I guess I didn't. 2017-204, authorizing the abatement of property maintenance violations at designated properties. 2017-205, authorizing an interlocal agreement between the Township of Pequannock and the Borough of Riverdale Board of Health for Public Health Services. 2017-206, authorizing the transfer of 2017 municipal budget appropriations. 2017-207, authorizing a professional services agreement in an amount not to exceed $15,000 between the Township of Pequannock and the Cannon Group LLC for executive search services. And 2017-208, approving the payment of itemized claims as set forth on the November 22nd, 2017 bill list.
All right, thank you. Are there any comments on any of these resolutions from council? Rich, you got anything?
Yeah, on 206, we're putting more money into Social Security and...
No, we're actually taking money out of Social Security to cover, they expanded some of the trips they did.
Say that again?
We're taking money out of Social Security, putting it into the programs.
Okay, this 8,000 is going into
Because
this here.
the appropriation was insufficient to cover the total amount of the cost, because they had increased participation in some of the trips.
Okay, so what I get nervous over is the word Social Security. You're taking money away from Social Security.
We have enough.
Okay, that's...
We'll be fine.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. No, if you're a business or a government, you're required to pay a certain amount of Social
We
Security.
pay everything we're supposed to.
Okay, very good.
All right.
And
Anything
Dave-
else?
Dave, I see on the bill list, we have a couple large expenses going to the water tower. How is the progress of that going?
The water tower is going great. They're, thanks to good weather, they've been able to get a lot of the concrete poured. At this point, it looks like they'll be able to finish the concrete pour before, the end of the winter.
And are you
So
saying the concrete pour, is that the surrounding of it? Because it looks like they're adding concrete.
Yeah, they must be putting layers on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the shell.
Yeah,
Right.
the initial shell was really just a form, and then they pour the concrete around it.
Okay.
To make the actual tank. And they have to, it has to cure, but it has to be above freezing.
Right.
To do that. So the tank's going along great. it should be finished actually before the pipe. Everything was kind of designed to all come together around next May, and we're either on or ahead of target for both.
Great. So when are you going to start digging up West Parkway?
They're probably a few weeks away from that.
And how far down West Parkway are they going? To Sunset?
All the way from Mountain to Sunset.
Anyone else? Kathy? Nope. No questions? That's it. I was glad to see the agreement with Riverdale. That's nice.
Yeah, our health interlocals are staggered, so they don't all come due at the same time, so this is just the normal rotation for Riverdale, and they're agreeable.
We have a great health department.
We really do. All right, is there a motion to adopt these resolutions?
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 2017-201 through 2017-208.
I'll second it.
All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Ms. Winterfield?
Yes.
Mayor Florence Lynch?
Yes. All right, next on the agenda would be discussion items. I don't think we have any discussion items tonight, do we?
Nope.
Nope, nothing added? Okay. So we have none for this evening. So we're going to move right on to reports and notices. I don't think we had any new reports and notices this week, did we?
we had-
Oh, yeah, we had one, yes.
Dave, is this what you wanted us to support?
Yes.
For the fast track of the
Yes, the foreclosure.
foreclosure?
I did not offer an opinion on that.
And I'm going to say I'm not in favor of that. I could see how that could get abused rather quickly.
I know there are some other towns that are experiencing issues with that, who are, supporting this, but
I mean, I think it's something that we should explore because, I have heard of
it does take
issues.
a very long time, but, the backlog that occurred between, 2009, 10, 11 seems to be clearing up, and things seem to be moving,
Better.
quicker than they were,
Yeah, it is better, but, would it really hurt to, I don't think it would hurt to support this. I just want to know.
There's been a lot of abuse of certain laws in the past.
How do you abuse the law?
You can ask Wells Fargo and all these other companies how to abuse them, and I'm sure they can tell you how.
I know. I don't know. Anybody else have thoughts on it?
Bob, you have any input on that?
Not particularly. I'm not sure it's a particular municipal concern or one of ours, other than that.
Yeah, so, if it's not really a concern of ours, then maybe we should just leave it alone.
I would leave it alone.
Yeah.
Sometimes, they abuse the little people, like Rich said, Wells Fargo, Equifax, all those things, Things, government goes slow for a reason.
I would need to know more about this before
before I close the door, maybe we can just research a little bit more on our own, make sure it's not something that we want to put forward, but, if we decide not to, that's fine, but...
2 weeks and you're out of your house. Fast track.
Yeah, no.
It wouldn't be that fast, right?
I know, but...
No, you just want to make sure it doesn't get held up, so, I don't know. Any thoughts? Maybe we could look at it again. If anybody has thoughts between now and the next meeting.
I'd be more than happy to look at it.
Yeah.
I'm just concerned about the abuse that may happen.
Okay. Well, we'll take a look at it. Everybody's just going to do that on their own, take a look through? Okay. All right. I guess we go right into manager's report. Mr. Holberg, what do you have tonight?
I have no formal report, however, based on the resolution that you authorized tonight for the professional service, Mr. Canning has indicated he's open the week of the 11th. We have a meeting that Tuesday. Let me know if you want to meet with him. We'll advertise an executive that night, or we can do another night if all of you are available.
Can we do it at 6 before the meeting?
Well, that's the night we're doing the committee.
We already have
We're doing the
6.
committee
we have a
at
6.
6.
We can advertise that as executive, and then, if you want, you can push the regular meeting off till 7:30, so you have enough time to kind of both.
Oh, do you guys feel like that's too much to do?
Can we make it a separate day, just on its own,
Or
so
you
that
can do
we don't
that.
feel like
Sure.
we're pressured for,
How about Monday, the 11th, before the first aid squad
holiday party.
Yeah, that would be
works. We
fine.
don't have there's no planning board.
Yeah, there's no planning board meeting that night, so I would be available for that.
We can make 6 o'clock maybe on that
Yeah,
Monday?
an hour.
Yeah.
The 11th?
Yeah.
You good, Kathy?
Do you think you're okay with that, Kath?
Carol,
Well, I can
you
say
send it.
tentatively, yes, I need to check my work calendar to make sure that I can leave work a little early to get here by 6.
Well, you want to make it later? I mean,
6:30 would be better.
Squad thing.
I think,
Like 8 o'clock, 7:30.
You know,
So make it 6:30.
6:30 makes me
No, the meeting's
sweat
at
it.
7:30,
Yeah.
so it's not going to be before 8. Yeah.
6:30 is fine with me.
6:30 is good.
Okay, great.
All right.
That's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you. All right, council reports. Rich, you have anything?
First, we'll start with, I don't know if you mentioned at the last council meeting, because again, I wasn't here because of old ringdings. They came from 43012 to Drive and somehow wandered over to 29 Rockledge Terrace. My wife should have thrown them out, but she's a saver and saves everything until somebody gets sick.
Wait, I missed something. What does that have to do with you not being here?
You didn't have to eat them.
He had a bad
Eat
ring
a
ding.
3-year-old ringding and
Oh.
to you.
Okay, okay.
Okay? It might have been almost 4 years old.
You didn't check the date before you...
There's no date on the ring.
Oh, that's why you were sick.
Right. Did
You ate the ring ding.
Okay, anyway.
Sorry.
Did you mention that Wayne Subaru is coming to Pequannock?
Wayne Subaru is coming.
But
to
is it
Pequannock.
Wayne Subaru, or is it just the used car?
I think it's...
No,
No, it's Wayne Subaru.
It's Wayne, yeah.
Is coming to Pequannock. We tried to convince him to change to Pequannock Subaru.
Yeah,
but that
he didn't like
fly.
that, yeah.
He didn't like that.
So the new car dealership is coming here, and
Yes.
they're going to do the maintenance
They're
still
gonna-
at...
No, they're going to do the maintenance in Wayne.
They're gonna
and they're going to
keep-
sell the cars here at the old Chinese food
Buffet.
Yeah, the
Buffet?
Chinese
Yeah.
buffet, yeah.
They're going to be moving in there.
That's great, I bought 2 cars.
And it's going to be mostly new, but they'll have some pre-owned, and they're going to do all the servicing still in Wayne, and they want to deliver cars indoors. So eventually there'll be like a
Saturn.
like a
No.
lift or something in the back.
No,
What do they call it?
they'll have a section in the back where the salesman goes over the car with you, but it's under a roof.
It's under a
and it's
roof.
inside.
It's
so
like
you're not-
Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah.
Right, so you're not standing outside.
So
the
more
corner.
pleasurable